Hello, and thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to be bringing you the transit that is live right now, but we're also going to be speaking forward into the next few days. This is an opportunity for you to see what's alive in the collective, specifically what the sun is illuminated for you. So this is also where you're going to discover how these transits impact you in your design. And we're going to be giving you the awareness so that you have the opportunity to choose how you act or react. And whenever you have the ability to choose, that gives you the opportunity to learn and grow because you have more conscious awareness of what's activated, how are you choosing, what outcome did you get from this choice point. And following the transits and taking aligned initiative can lead towards self-discovery and mastery over time. Not just aligned initiative, but also misaligned initiative, because sometimes when we make those mistakes, we also learn from them. So just because you know what's alive is not going to guarantee that you're going to get it right, do it right, because life's not really about that, especially with the 29, which is what is activated today, which is the water goddess. And she is about discovery and exploration and experiences. She's not about goals and outcomes. She's about saying yes to the present moment and being with the process for however long the process takes. So today, Bella and I will be chatting about this water goddess, chatting about the aspects that are in relationship to the water goddess and other different planetary activations. So like always, we are going to be sharing our genetic matrix charts. And if you're curious or want to run your own charts, we'll give you the link for that.
Yeah, I was thinking about just that 29 that's activated. It's a generated channel when we have something that goes from the sacral to any other center. So we have the 29 and the 46 that are connecting the G and the sacral, and that's a generated channel. I had somebody ask me yesterday what the difference was between my design and their design. I am a generator and she's a manifesting generator. And I realized just the fact of being a generator, to not have that manifesting generating direct connection from a motor to the throat, you usually have to see things through. So when you start doing something, the generator energy is to do it until the end of the cycle. And that's why we want to be discerning with our energy as generators. What do we start? And how wholehearted are we when we begin? Because if we don't have that commitment, that wholeheartedness from the beginning, and we have to see it through, it's like we're using our life force in a stupid way instead of building something of value for ourselves, for our lives. So 29 from the sacral and the 46 is not activated right now. However, we have a lot of stuff that's activated here in Virgo, and both Mercury and Mars are on their way towards that 46. You had commented on all these Virgo activations. We even have the moon there. The moon is staying 2.5 days in a sign, and we have the moon in the very last line of gate 40. So it went into Virgo this morning. It's still in Virgo for the next 2 days.
Yeah, so you can see all these planetary activations sitting in the sign of Virgo, and you're going to see the sun moving its way towards Virgo because right now the 29 is a Leo gate. It's actually in the threshold between Leo and Virgo because the last couple degrees of the water goddess are actually Virgo territory. So this is all about this commitment that you can, as you're standing at the threshold, what kind of commitments are you making? What are you committing to this next season? And Virgo energy is different than Leo energy. It's the priestess, it's the goddess, it's the practical, it's the analytical. It's also earth and grounded and very much to do with the body. And so there's going to be a lot of things that might come up in terms of work, your routines, your body. And so when you can approach this threshold, knowing you're going to the school of embodiment, the school of the body, the school of the mind, and the balance between mind, body, and soul, you're going to know that for the next however many days from the 23rd of August to the 22nd of September, you're in this school where life is bringing you circumstances and experiences to help you evolve and grow in the home of Virgo. The sun is illuminating this part. And so when you can stand at this threshold and be like, I'm going to commit to a diet that is going to make me feel more alive and refreshed. And I'm going to decide that my routine is going to get an overhaul, and I'm going to go to bed at this time, and I'm not going to work past this time. And this is a time where you can really start to get practical things that are going to change your health and well-being for the better. So like I said, as you're approaching this threshold, and we have all these planets, Mars, how you act, Mercury, how you think, the moon, how you feel, it's all in Virgo. And so let's utilize these activations to get really clear and focused on what we might want to commit ourselves to, knowing that we can set a goal. But with the water goddess, she's more about the devotion to the process of healing, getting better, not necessarily the outcome. The outcome is amazing and we're working towards that. But ask yourself, do I want to feel well rested? Do I want to feel more alive and invigorated in my body? And if that's what you're devoted to, then you're going to call in things that are going to enrich that are going to help that. And yeah, so that's what I would guide you towards as we kind of are transitioning from Leo to Virgo. How does that sound, Bella? Is there anything else you might be looking at or noticing?
I love what you're saying. So right now we are still in Leo, and we have 5 more days in Leo where the sun, and the sun is very much what creates that neutrino stream imprint that is the neutrino conditioning weather. So right now we still possibly feel a lot of Leo energy with what we spoke about last week, Venus going retrograde and going over all these gates again, and also the sun. However, from the 23rd of August, when also the sun goes into Virgo, which is work and serving and a lot of this organizing stuff. And then Venus is going to be alone there, Leo, saying, I want to have fun, but she's going to be retrograde and having to like reevaluate and go over some things. And we also see a lot of the planets that are already retrograde, and we're going to have more retrogrades. So going forward here, it's going to be much responsibility. And not necessarily the kind of heavy responsibility that we sometimes feel in Capricorn, where we have Saturn as the ruler. Here we have Mercury as the ruler. We also have a connection to Chiron, which is a little bit more of that deeper work, more of the priestess work, more of the alchemical work. However, it's not necessarily super light and super fast. Earth energy is not super fast, and the retrogrades are about reevaluation. So whatever we have felt for a while now with the North Node in Aries, and then the Sun and Venus and activations in Leo in fire, that's very much faster. It's going to shift. So going from this more fast masculine energy, we could say, into this feminine energy where a lot of things can happen both on the plane of the body. Then, like Ashley was saying, the other side of that with the mind is more about organization and the perfecting and the detoxing and the throwing out things we don't need and these kinds of things.
Yeah, this is the very first day of this transit with the 29. And I also want to point out that we have the 30 activated on the other side of the 39, right? That's the earth activation. We've got desires, we've got lightness and rapture. I think that it could be beneficial for you to get clear on those desires. We're still in Leo as well. So let's kind of see what we desire to feel in our relationships, in our lives, in our work. If we are going to tap into the water goddess, and the 30 is connected to the emotional realm, well, how are we wanting to feel? And moving towards that, and knowing too that we need to know and claim our desires without needing to attach to them. Because if we're pushing them away and denying them, they're still having power over us. And if we're not even like acknowledging them, that's not good either. So let's know what we want. And we can be committed towards experiencing these things and becoming a match for these experiences that we desire to have. But it's going to take work. It's going to take devotion and commitment, because you're not going to attract the perfect relationship if you haven't healed yourself. You're just going to attract more of what's inside of you. So use this time to devote yourself to becoming a match for what it is you desire and what it is possible. There's something in the chart that is worth mentioning too. I'm seeing a lot of similarities from the other chart too, that we were talking, the other Gene Key chart with the 56 and the 2 and the 3 in the Pearl sequence.
Yeah, and those are so of course, when we are coming back so often, not that much changes because the outer planets are not that fast. So you're going to see that in the middle of the hologenetic profile, where we have Jupiter and some of those other planets that aren't super fast or they're going retrograde, we're going to have similar activations. Why I'm showing you this chart is we are in a 1-3 day today. So it is about personal empowerment, and it is about you seeing what you commit to, what you say yes to, what you're devoting yourself to. It needs to be you first, and it can be a win-win with somebody else, but a 1-3 profile is about your self-empowerment first. Then it's important to also see that for the next few days, we're not going to do lives, but we're going to be in the cross of contagion. The cross of contagion is 29, 30, 8, and 14. And this is very much fire and water. So we have 29, water over water. And then we have the 30, fire over fire. We have the 8, 1 of 2 gene keys in the code ring of water. 14, 1 of 2 gene keys in the code ring of fire. Everything in the next few days is about fire and water. And it's about striking the perfect balance between them. The water goddess,
don't put out the fire, and don't be too watery. Maybe we're trying to achieve this balance where we have like this warm water. It's like, what can happen when things boil? What can happen when you're increasing the fire or increasing the amount of water? What do those two elements also signify as well? Like, why do they need to know about water and fire? Or what does that mean for them?
For me, the perfect exercise for the next week, or until we are in the 4-1 profile, we're going to shift into the juxtaposition cross, would be to see this element as one element. What would it be? How would it show up in your life? It was a joint element of water and fire. I feel like that's the alchemy. What is that perfect union of fire and water, where, like Ashley was saying, the water is not killing the fire and the fire is not drying up the water, that can live and regenerate and regenerate? What if water and fire could regenerate each other? And what does that have to do with those gene keys? We see here also in the gene key profile, we have the 2 and the 14. So that is that time to regeneration as well. And then the 29 being the life's work of that. So play with fire and water, not separate, but see what's the alchemy when they are together.
So, yeah. I'd say as well, as we're leaving Leo and we're moving into Virgo, we have an opportunity to organize. We have an opportunity to look at our routines and look at the way that we are living our life and see what we want to give back and serve the world, the people around us. Look at how we are serving. Where is that service coming from? It's coming from this place of wounding, coming from this place of selfishness, coming from this place like of I give you this, you give me that. Like there's this need to receive something. I'm only doing it because I want you to do that too. Like, how are you serving? And what do you expect of other people? Virgo season can be like this, like really critical, judgmental in the lower levels too. And we just recorded Virgo season for the setup. So if you want to get prepared for Virgo season and have some initiatives, create the roadmap, create this mantra and declaration of intent, please, I encourage you to purchase the setup. It's only $22 for those of you that can afford that. And it definitely is going to give you everything you need to know about Virgo season. And since Virgo is the earth element, it's going to be important for you to look at your foundations, what you're building your life on. That includes your work. That includes your routines. That includes even like your values, your core pillars. Like, what is it that you're building your life on? And is something crumbling? So we also have created the Foundation Masterclass. We're going into Design Saturn. And next week, we're going to be going into your vitality, your SQ, your unconscious Venus. And then we'll go into the purpose sphere. So all of these have to do with your platform, your foundation. So if you have experienced a breakdown, if you want to build up, I highly encourage you to look at these activations so that you can build from this place of solidity, from core stability, from anchoring into you, instead of maybe what it was built on before that didn't sustain your growth now. That's why they broke apart, is because they're not good for you anymore. That's why they're gone. So Virgo, your platform, all those BD things, that's how we can offer it and serve and support you. And obviously there's a multitude of avenues you can take as well. So many amazing resources and services out there, but just make sure it's aligned with the energy that is alive and activated, because that's where you're going to have the most momentum and support, is because you're going with the flow of the cosmos, not against it.
So last thing about that. So right now, as you could see in the Jinky chart, in the very middle, we had the 39, and that is coming to liberate any kind of blockages. So that's the place where Ash and I are going on Tuesday, right in the very, very center of the Jinky hologenetic profile. And we're looking at Venus, the sign Venus. And we're not just looking at her as the SQ. That will be part of it, but just a small part. We're looking at her as vitality, because it's the spring, it's the middle of the chakra pillar. And it's also that spring of life force, of energy, of Kundalini. And we have just looked at Saturn, the sign Saturn, that sits there kind of holding her in that place when she realizes that she's not alone, when she realizes that she can be in sacred union. But a lot of the things that we are doing with SQ or with the sign Venus is to allow the inner child to be safe and to allow the body to be healthy. And when we have that as a launch pad or as a springboard, that's also when we can express ourselves in the pearl and be more of what we're here to be in the world. So that's what we are going to go into on Tuesday. We will go live half an hour before and remind you, but if you want it already now, get that and get the course, you can.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us for this episode of your cosmic weather report and forecast, because we're letting you know what's to come. So we hope to see you next week, and we'll wishing you a good weekend. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.